Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Saturday. I'm Leslie Watkins and I'm just going to double check to make sure that we're live, and it looks like we are, so that's a good thing. I hope everybody's well. I'm going to continue with this beautiful palette of the late summer blossoms, the goldenrod and the joe pye. And I have a nice project for you today. This is going to be a page for the new journal making workshop that I have coming up next month. So this is the prototype. I showed you this already. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this page for my new journal. And I'll show you how I did that. This is the prototype I showed. So since I last saw you, I took that watercolor that I did last Wednesday and I mounted it onto this DSP with the gold embellishments, and then I stitched around the edges and I added one of the butterflies also in the gold heat embossing to the cover. And then there's the spine, the back, but it's empty. This is still a work in progress. So what I wanted to work with today are these stamp sets. So I've got the Beauty of Tomorrow. I've got Delicate Dahlias, which is one of the free sets that you get with the, I think it's $100 purchase with Sale-A-Bration. And I have the Butterfly Brilliance, and I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. And I've got my butterfly box here with all the cutouts in it. I also have the time-worn type embossing folder, which I've already used to save a little bit of time. And for papers, I have very vanilla cardstock and envelope. This is that time-worn type embossing folder on the gold shimmer vellum paper. I've got a piece of rich raspberry and a piece of blackberry bliss. And on Wednesday, I also made this custom-made DSP, which was done with rich raspberry, crushed curry, blackberry bliss, and then a little bit of old olive. And then I heat embossed it to add a little bit of sparkle and sheen to the pattern. And you can go back and you can see how I did this in a previous video. What I did earlier was I just tore off a 3-inch strip off of the end of the paper here to use for the pocket today. And that looks like this. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of the vellum paper, the gold shimmer vellum paper, and I think you can see what a nice sheen that has. And I stitched that to the back of my 3-inch strip. And then I just sponged around the edges. Okay, and this is going to form the pocket for my pocket card. And I got out my crushed curry ribbon. So I'm going to be using this. This is the crinkled seam binding ribbon. This is a retired product, but if you don't have that, you could use the gold ribbon, would be just fine, or any ribbon that you like. And I'm just going to take a length of that And then what I'm going to do is, let me clear this out of the way, make a little more room here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch down, I'm sorry, I'm not going to stitch down, I'm going to glue down these two sides in the back. So I have this little pocket here. So this side and this side I'm going to glue. Just hold that in place for a minute. And then I'm taking my seam binding ribbon and I'm just going to put that inside this fold. This is kind of the peak, the middle peak of the W, if you're visualizing a W here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that closed like that with the ribbon in there. So that makes a kind of a channel that's going to hold that ribbon in place. Now I'm going to put something heavy on here and let this dry while we continue. If I had a clip handy, I'd put a clip on it. Here, let me grab one of these clips. Okay, that should hold it for a minute. Alright, so let's put the card together now. Here's my card base. This is a standard size note card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I have two mats that I'm planning on using. One is the Blackberry Bliss and the Rich Razzleberry. So I'm going to cut this down to, do it this way, 5 3/8. And then 4 1/8. Okay, and that's going to give me a very tiny reveal of the very vanilla around the edges. And then my time-worn tight piece measures 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And I think I want about that much showing on the Rich Razzleberry. So I'm going to cut this at 4 5 1/4 and see how that looks. That's it. Okay, so I'll glue those things down. I'm going to save all these scraps for another time. Hold on, I don't know if you can hear the fan or not, but I want to turn that off. It's actually cooled down quite a bit today, which is awfully nice, I must say. All right. So I'm just going to take some glue. Now, this does have an upside and a downside, and I know that my pocket's going to be in this area, so I'm going to put most of the glue there. And then I'm just going to dot and get a new glue out. Okay, and then I'm just going to dot along the top here and there, just wherever the raised type is. Okay. We go. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere my mat to my card base. I'm adding a little more glue than I normally would just because this is going to be such a heavy card. And this is the thick, very vanilla cardstock that I'm using. So this is going to be a very sturdy support. Put that on upside down. Whoops. There we go. That's better. You do have a little bit of wiggle room with the liquid glue. So if you do get something positioned not quite the way you like it, you have a minute to make your correction. Okay, so there is my card base. Now let me get my little pocket out. Let's see how this did with the drying. It's a little bit humid today, so I just want to make sure that everything's adhered well. Looks good. Okay, now our pocket is going to go onto the front just like this. There's a lot of dimension to this card. It's almost 3D. So this is not something that you would be putting in an envelope and mailing. You would have to put in a little padded envelope or even present it in a box. I'm going to be using it in my journal, so that's not an issue. So make sure I get my ribbons out of the way. Okay, so that's how the card looks so far. And you can use the ribbon to tie this flap shut. And you've got a nice little envelope here for a tuck spot. So let me show you. Here's a scrap. So you see you can tuck a tag or a note or whatever you like in there. Here's our front. Now I want to do a little bit more embellishing to the front. So I'm going to go to my butterfly collection. So this is the butterfly box I have filled with all of my butterfly embellishments that I made with this set, stamp set and dies. But I also want a little sentiment. So before I go further, I want to use the sentiment from the Delicate Dahlias, You Inspire Me. So I have that mounted up here. And I have a scrap here. That's already got some stamping on it. Let me see if I can find a better piece. Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss for this. And I just put my thumb in the ink, so before I go any further, I want to give that a spritz and a wipe so I don't get ink all over my card. There we go. And I'm just going to tear that down to the size I want. Actually, I'm going to do that one over again. I'm going to do it again. That's better. Oops, sorry, I'm off camera. There you go. So there's my sentiment. And I'm just going to tear this down a little bit. And I'm going to take my, let's see, just going to sponge the edges with a little bit of the crushed curry. Okay, so there's that. Just going to give that a little curl like so, and a bit of a wave on the ends. Okay, so there's my sentiment. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie this closed so I can make sure of the position of my bow. So I'm just bringing the ribbon up as high as it will go in the slot. Get my bow going. There we go. And I'm going to have some butterfly embellishments that I've already pre-cut. I also have some vellum butterflies. So let's see, let's put this all together. I have several different kinds of butterflies. I have the butterflies that have the gold heat embossing, and then I have the gold foil cutout butterflies. And the butterfly in many cultures is the symbol of inspiration. So I kind of like the way this all comes together. Okay, I think I like that. So I'm going to take this butterfly and put a few spots of glue. I have to be careful here because for some reason this glue is coming out faster than the other glues. So I'm just going to dot some tiny dots. Okay, and then also I want to make sure that these antennas stay down. So I'm just going to, without squeezing the glue, I'm just going to pick up a little extra and put it on those antennas like so. Alright, and then this is going to go right here. And put a couple of spots of glue on my sentiment. Place that right there. Okay, and I think what I'll do is I'll take some of those extra butterflies and put them in the pocket on the inside. So that's my card for today. It's a little bit more than just a card, but I think it's a really cute idea, and I hope you'll try it. If you do, if you make some changes, I'd love to see what you do. So please post any of your creations below. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a terrific weekend, and stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.